Avi Meyer's Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Hide the Women and Children, Jewish Chicago is out. Pick up a copy to find complete judicial analysis there. It is a pleasure to introduce you to somebody I haven't had on the show before, somebody who is running for the Circuit Court of Cook County, Carolyn Joan Gallagher. How are you?
Hi, Abby. Nice to see you.
First of all, pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
And we talked a little bit.
Likewise.
It's funny, of the two of us, guess which one has the journalism degree?
Communications degree.
Yeah, I have
Same
communication.
thing, really.
Well, pretty much. But, she was actually a working reporter and the whole rest of it. So, besides for that, why don't you tell us about your background?
Well, I grew up on the north side of Chicago.
Yeah.
Went to college in Minnesota where I majored in journalism. And because I loved writing, I have to tell you that when I was a little girl, I was the oldest of 5, and my father brought us every Tuesday night to the public library on Clark Street, where we would spend the evening and we'd come home with stacks of books. So my father, who was a truck driver and then a salesman, knew the value of reading and the value of education, and he emphasized to all of us that we should make it our goal to get a professional degree. And meanwhile, we were doing a lot of reading, which I believe can turn you into a good writer pretty easily because you're absorbing the use of the language. So I always loved to write, majored in journalism, got out of college, really wanted to go into journalism, but also wanted to get that professional degree, and there weren't a lot of opportunities in those days. I could have stayed in Winona, Minnesota, but I wanted to come to the Chicago Tribune, which was not going to happen. I attended law school at DePaul. And when I got out of law school, I had the extraordinary opportunity to clerk for a judge in the Illinois Appellate Court.
Wow.
Where I got to do a lot of writing.
Very cool. And of course, that's something that you're skilled in.
Yes, yes. So I got to write all of those judicial opinions for Justice McGillicuddy, the first draft anyway. And all of that research, that legal research, and it's a great way to start a legal career because you're taking the perspective of the reviewing court, you're reading the record, the transcripts, the pleadings, everything that happened at the trial court level. You're reading and you're really learning how it works. So after my clerkship, I joined a small law firm downtown, Dardick and Denlow, a boutique commercial litigation law firm, and found myself in federal court just about every day of the week.
Wow.
For the next 8 or 9 or 10 years. It was a great experience.
No, it definitely sounds like it. So at what point at one time did you decide, like, hey, I'd like to be a judge?
During that judicial clerkship, because the judge for whom I worked thought that I would one day be an excellent judge, and she really inspired me to make that my long-term goal. And her advice to me was to get a lot of solid legal experience, litigation, transactional, get a global kind of experience so that I could bring all of that to the bench one day. I didn't know how quickly the 30 years would pass.
Wow.
I don't think. And I would say that I underestimated the political aspect of becoming a judge. I was very focused on...
In Chicago, really?
I was naive, Avi. I don't know. So focused on getting that good experience.
Yeah.
And I find myself now out on the campaign trail. It's very different. It's very different.
It's a very different experience, and you're also limited when you run for judge. I mean, you're not allowed to try to sell things like soap and all that.
Right. You're not allowed to express your views, and people do ask you. I had a woman ask me today at a senior bingo where I was campaigning. Now, if a man was abusing his wife and beating her up, what would you do? And you want to answer their questions, but you have to be very careful not to violate the judicial code because it's very strict about that.
It's important to mention judicial code. This is something I've already heard in 3 of the other interviews today. And one of the people didn't know what to say it's the judicial code.
Oh,
which is not a good thing, and I don't think is going to help vote-wise for that particular individual.
Probably not.
No, definitely not. So you're actually a local resident. You're in Evanston.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So and at one time you were going to, well, you're running countywide, which is probably a good thing because not too many Irish people win in the 9th Sub-Circuit.
That was my thinking. That was part of my thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, no, when we were handicapping the race, looking at the initial people, we figured, when you filed for 2 races, we figured you were going to go for the countywide.
Ah, that was pretty good. I wanted to say one of the other things I got to do during my career, I got a lot of commercial litigation experience, but for 4 years I taught legal writing at DePaul as a full-time instructor. And I had 60, 70, 80 students each year.
Wow.
First-year law students all the way through 3rd year. And that was really a privilege. I'm so passionate about good writing and good, solid legal writing because it will win you cases. And believe it or not, there are a lot of lawyers who can't write. They just don't have solid skills to be persuasive on the page, and it's a real asset if you can do it.
I was actually approached by somebody who told me I make a great lawyer because I have the ability to throw the bull well in writing. That was the way he phrased it to me. I mean, well, not quite that way, but you understand.
Right.
Listen, at this point, let's get to you got a website?
I do. It's Gallagher for Judge, also CarolynGallagherforJudge.com. My punch number is 153.
153 punch number. Gallagher for Judge, running for judge of the Circuit Court of Cook County. If you enjoyed and appreciated her during our interview, think highly of her. You know, you have good judicial ratings also. You didn't mention that.
That's correct.
You should punch 153 to vote Joan Gallagher in Circuit Court. I want to thank you very much for being here and good luck in the election.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you.